What is up? This is the War Dog. Welcome to another episode of Comic Book Theater with my main man, JR. What's going on, JR?
What's up, War Dog?
Not much, bro. Just sweating it out in the garage, but I got to sweat it out to do these podcasts because I love talking comic books. And today I got two of our buddies, Cam Hewitt and Mike Leon. What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
All right. So, John, why don't you lead us into what we're going to talk about today? I know we're kind of like all over the place on this one, just trying to have a little bit of fun talking some comics. So get this started off, and we'll just roll with it.
Right on, man. Well, there's so much going on in the comic book community right now with new issues coming out this week. So I thought we would go just a slightly different direction than we normally do, where we have one specific topic that we might just go in and see what everybody's reading. I know myself, our very first podcast that we ever did, Todd was trying to get me to he was trying to talk me into this Immortal Hulk run from the very beginning. And finally, Immortal Hulk 18 is the one where I'm finally climbing on the bandwagon. I don't want to do any spoiler stuff with anybody or anything like that, but if you have not been reading Immortal Hulk and you want to know, like you want to jump in just both feet, head first, however you want to describe it, Immortal Hulk 18 is to start with, man, because you're going to get in there and there's a cliffhanger. There are a couple of reveals. You don't even really have to be a full-on Hulk fan to really enjoy it, but I'm certain that the full-on Hulk fans are enjoying it. So, Cam, I'm going to go to you first, man. I'm curious. What are you reading? What are you looking forward to in the coming weeks with new comic books?
Basically, the only one I'm reading right now is Deceased. It's the first one I've read since my surgery, and I actually remember it all. So I'm really digging that whole story. Plus, I love zombies.
Right on. So give us a little bit of the premise of Deceased. What kind of genre are we talking about? You said, did you say zombies?
Yeah, basically.
What kind of genre are we talking about there?
I mean, I haven't seen much horror yet, but I would say slightly horror.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Cam on that one. Hey, I've read the Stephen King book, The Cell, or I think it's called Cell. I know Leon said he read that one as well. And basically the premise of The Cell is that people get a phone call, and anybody that answers that phone call transforms them into like a zombie type character. So they basically took that story and they brought it into the DC universe. And I even seen somebody make a comment. I usually read things digitally, and I seen somebody say like, "Oh, this is a ripoff of The Cell," which doesn't bother me because I love Stephen King, and I do like DC Comics. So seeing that was cool. Like Cam said, it is a zombie story, and it kind of like models the whole Marvel zombies thing, I think, a little bit. Mike, you checked out Deceased earlier. What are your thoughts on that one?
It's just not just talking on the phone. It's anything. Like if you're looking at your computer screen, I'm getting the notion that anything social media has to deal with, if you're on it, you've got the disease. And I don't know if they're supposed to be zombies or it's just an infection that makes them crazy. So it looks like they shred their own skin, like trying to rip the disease out of them, and it looks pretty interesting though. I'll get the next issue.
Yeah, they got some great.
That does sound really interesting. Actually, that's going to be one to pick up.
The art in it's really good too. I don't know who the artist is in it.
there was a ton of really good covers for that one. Like I'm pretty sure Mattina did a cover. I know Shannon Mayer, a guy on the Collector's Corner, did a cover for that one. I mean, overall, you know, I enjoyed it. I liked the way that it ended with Batman getting attacked. I can't remember. Does Batman get transformed?
I don't know.
It didn't show it. It just left off with Nightwing, you know, going after Batman.
Okay.
It's, I don't want to any spoilers, but it looks like him and Robin are tearing him up, man.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that any DC story could go on without Batman being one of the main characters in that story. I mean, like, somehow he's got to survive that. Alfred jumps in and injects him with some, you know, anti-zombie venom or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
What was Deathstroke in that one at all?
No. Oh, I wish. I really do.
Yeah, you know Deathstroke's gonna have to be a part of that story at some point.
Oh yeah. I even had Adam Fields recently. For my birthday, I got a commission from him as Deathstroke as a zombie on Dceased.
I seen that. He did a pretty sweet job on that one.
Oh yeah. I absolutely love it.
So you have it framed and hung up yet?
Not yet. I'm wanting to figure out a different way to do it, but I am getting it tattooed on me.
Oh, but you already have one Deathstroke tattooed on you already?
Yeah.
Is it somewhere?
Yeah, I do.
Are you
Is
gonna?
it for public consumption?
Basically, right there.
Now there's rumors that you have an interesting story about said tattoo. Is it family friendly?
Yeah.
All right. Do you feel like sharing it with us?
Yeah. Basically, I went to my first Comic-Con, Gym City, and me, Joe Bennett, and his brother JV were checking out this vendor there. She looks down at it and goes, "I like your Deadpool tattoo." First off, I was just like, "You run a shop, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, we own this one. It's on Wilmington Pike, this, and this." And I was like, "That's not Deadpool." I was like, "Who's he fighting?" She's like, "That's the Green Arrow." Joe and JV walk away because they couldn't help but laugh, and I was just, "That's not Deadpool. Like, it's not. It's orange." And she was just like, "I don't know who Deathstroke is," and walked away.
Well, here's an interesting question. Who came first, Deadpool or Deathstroke?
Deathstroke. Deathstroke all the way. Everything. Deathstroke.
That's my understanding too. I haven't followed as closely as Cam has, but yeah, Deathstroke came first. And it's one of the more obvious ripoffs for Deadpool. I don't think anybody will dispute that Slade Wilson and Wade Wilson, you know, that's kind of a punch right in the gut, frankly. Maybe a low blow to do that for their alter ego names.
Yeah, but Slade Wilson's got better feet, I've been told.
that goes without saying. He's drawn more often with feet, I will tell you that much.
Not diamonds.
Yeah, not little pointy elf toes and stuff like that. All right, we're getting a little off topic there, slamming them a little bit, and I apologize for my technical difficulty a little bit earlier. Did we already ask Mike what he's reading, what he's looking forward to?
I got a normal pool that I usually get. I usually collect Batman. I I haven't read any of them, but I collect the shit out of Batman. Rick and Morty, I collect those and read those. Let's see what else. I'm starting to collect Spawn. I collect Immortal Hulk, but I haven't read any of them. But love them. I read 18. I was about to say I read 18 to see what everybody was talking about.
By all accounts, it is right up there with anything Donny Cates is writing right now, and that's putting him in rarefied air there for it. Like you say, I'm going to have to go back and find is what I'm going to have to do because I skipped them. I have the annual and I have 18 and that's it. But I'm going to have to start picking it up because I want to know what's going down. You know, I just like that though. You're talking about Spawn. Spawn is on the road to 300 right now. The last 2 issues have basically been a historical review. 96 and 97, 296 and 297 have both been just basically an overview of how we got to where we're at right now. And then a single page reveal kind of thing was at the end of 296. Unfortunately, I haven't peeled out my copy of 297 yet. But you know, I think the real story arc is going to begin in 298, 299, and go through 301. That's my opinion on it. Let's see here. Todd, what do you other than Immortal Hulk? I'm not going to let you off easy here. What have you been reading, man?
Well, first up, I mean, this is a podcast, and if you're reading this, if you're watching this, I mean, I think we're justified to give away some spoilers here on Immortal Hulk. And if you haven't read Immortal Hulk 18 yet, you might want to stop it at this point and just skip ahead maybe 2 minutes. I usually talk about 2 minutes and then I shut up. But in Immortal Hulk 18, we see the first probably full appearance of the Red Harpy, and the Red Harpy is based off of Betty Ross. I believe Betty Ross became a Red Hulk at some point. I don't know the whole story, but that's how she became the Red Harpy. Because I don't know the historical aspect of that story, but she was the original Harpy, and now she's the Red Harpy. So you get a full first appearance of her on 2 pages. In the book before, at the very end, you get this first appearance of this new abomination. And this book, 18, you get the first full appearance of this new abomination. And it's not the same character that the original abomination was. This one is actually Rick Jones. That's the Hulk's buddy. And so at the very end of this book, you see Rick Jones's face 2 times, I think it was, on the abomination creature. And then also the Easter egg is, and we had a podcast with Jerry Rowe, and he brought this up, is that Bruce Banner was talking to the Hulk, and he mentioned that he needed to give him a new name, and when he was giving him the new name, he started to say Maestro, and Maestro is a whole different story. It's Future Imperfect, I believe that's what it's called, right? So in that one book, you've got these 3 really great kind of key type items. So if you haven't picked up Immortal Hulk 18, I definitely suggest that you pick that one up. There was also I read the Batman, I think it's The Last Night. It's the second of the Black Label books. Now, if you remember, Batman Damned was the first of the Black Labels. This one that just came out is, I think, the second one of the Black Labels. So it's got a little bit of a crazier story. The Joker's I guess he's dead, but he's still alive. His head is inside of a lantern, and Batman's carrying that around. It kind of goes into this, Batman's in the asylum, and they're trying to trick him into believing that he's crazy, but he figures it out. It's a really good story. I would recommend, you know, if you haven't checked that one out, check that one out. I mean, those were probably my two favorites that I read this week. I read Ascender by Jeff Lemire, and that's 2 issues in, and that one's actually a pretty good story too. Lemire is probably one of my favorite artists or writers, along with like Donnie Cates. Those guys are probably 2 of my top guys. So, you know, if you like Lemire's other stuff, you might want to check out Ascender as well. That's pretty much what I have on some of the highlights that I seen this week, and some of the things that I read this week. So, you know, we also seen something about Kingdom Come, and that Bendis is going to carry Kingdom Come into the Young Justice storyline. John, you want info on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my understanding is yes, that Bendis, who is writing, and actually it's the Young Justice. I originally thought it was the Teen Titans, but it turns out it was Young Justice is going to be. They're visiting different universes, is what they're doing. That's kind of their shtick right now. Their storyline is they're visiting different universes, and they're actually going to be visiting the Kingdom Come universe. Now, for anybody who's unfamiliar with the Kingdom Come universe, the basics of it, the gist of it is all of the heroes that we know and love right now are basically retired. They really rely heavily on Superman in that universe, and Superman had kind of a bad time where he lost Lois Lane. I won't spoil how that all happened out, but he goes into self-imposed exile, and literally everybody else from the Justice League kind of just basically disbands. The only one that really sticks around is Wally West, and he is constantly in the Speed Force. Like they never draw him. And by the way, with that one, Kingdom Come is, by all accounts, one of those books that I will always tell folks, if they're trying to get somebody who has a small knowledge of vague interest in comic books, but doesn't want just your normal everyday comic book read, Kingdom Come is at the top of that list for people to read. The art by Alex Ross is amazing, and it's not just the cover, it's every single page, and he absolutely just slays it. Anyway, there are tons of Easter eggs in there. I don't want to spoil any of those either, but the gist of it is that they're going to be visiting this Kingdom Come universe that was written all the way back in '96. So, I mean, that tells you right there, this story has some staying power if folks are still talking about it and still trying to bring it into the forefront. And so there's just that's one that I'm going to be looking forward to, is that Young Justice, to see how because let's be real here, nobody can match what Alex Ross does artistically. He created I don't want to call Magog a bad guy, because I don't know that he necessarily is a bad guy, but he's the catalyst for the Kingdom Come universe. And Todd, you brought up reminded me of a quote that Alex Ross had for creating Magog. Do you remember what that was, or do you maybe have that handy?
Yeah, hang on. So well, basically they created it in the 90s when Image kind of broke off and there was a lot of anti-heroes. And so basically when they wrote this story, when Mark Waid wrote this story and Alex Ross drew it, they reflected on the time that they were actually doing it, and the character, the new heroes were actually kind of like the Punisher, kind of like some of Rob Liefeld's characters. And I think that Alex Ross compared Magog to like a pretty much a Rob Liefeld character. And I never read this story, and if anybody's listening to this, there is on YouTube you can listen to the story, and it's actually I listened to it today while I was sitting at work, and I got to admit it's actually a pretty good story. And the audiobook on this one has actually got different voices, which was really cool. It kind of added to the whole listening experience. It probably took me about 2 hours, but I was just sitting there listening. And Batman in this story is probably one of the most interesting characters because he kind of like, it's kind of like a twist in this story. And
Absolutely. With Batman in this story, you're about 3/4 of the way through the story before you are sure whether Batman is actually a good guy still or whether he's been turned. But basically, if somebody's trying to jump in, they need to know Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Lex Luthor, and Shazam. And after that, you can fill in the other blanks later. And it's a really good story. Now, I actually did look up the quote so that I can read it because I think it's entertaining. That basically Alex Ross said, talking about Magog, and you can look him up online. He's very Rob Liefeld-esque, but it says that's a character that Mark Waid invented that was really just put to me like come up with the most god-awful Rob Liefeld sort of design you can. So they were not pulling any punches there in that statement on Magog. Anyway, you guys know that I'm more into I like it whenever they bring old stuff forward and try and tie in. Now there are varying degrees of success with that. You guys, Mike, I'll ask you. You have any older stories that you wish they would be bringing forward and tying into new stuff?
Sorry, I was on mute.
No,
really.
you're cool, man.
No, I really don't have nothing to say on that. I don't really read that much of them.
so you buy them mostly for the covers?
I buy it mostly for the art.
No, I understand. That's how I was when I was a kid. Basically, go to the store, buy them, put them in a bag and a board, just like buying cards, and just look through them and admire them. So I completely understand.
Like all the Marvel back in the day, the 80s and the 70s, I never really read any of those books. But as soon as the 90s hit and all the art started like popping off the pages and the color was more vibrant, I started reading those, like the Spawns and mostly all the Image stuff. So I got really no backstories that I really invested in.
Right on and you know what? That's what I love about the hobby as a whole. We all collect different ways. We're into different things. I mean, let's be real here. You guys know as well as I do. You guys have been around long enough. Josh Biddle on the corner, he'll tell you, he'll bring up a book and be like, I bought it for the cover. I'm never going to read this stupid thing. and puts it in his file cabinet, but he's got it and he loves the cover. Or like, you know, Huffman who does the 2 for a quarter bins, and it's all early 90s Image stuff. It don't matter if he's got 3 of that same book. He getting another one because he got a smoking deal on it and he loves it anyway, you know. So yeah, more power to you, man. And that's cool. Cam, you've been kind of filling in the back end of your Deathstroke here lately, haven't you?
Yeah, basically, I got one issue from the first volume I'm missing, and then 2 or 3 from the rest of the volumes.
So Cam, what are you going to do when they kill off Deathstroke? I read that in like a month or so, there's going to be a funeral for Deathstroke, and they're going to replace Deathstroke with Robert Pattinson. What are you going to do after that? Are you going to continue to follow Deathstroke?
Oh, I'll always follow Deathstroke. That there's no question about that.
Even if he sparkles?
He's gonna, man.
If he's got a sparkle, you know, that makes for a better looking or a cool helmet. You know, a helmet variant.
I don't know much about Deathstroke. Isn't Deathstroke like Wade Wilson here? He can't really die.
Um,
Can you explain the difference between him and Deadpool? I thought they were like similar.
so basically, the only thing, like Wade Wilson went through that whole, you know, transformation process. Deathstroke, the only, you know, experimenting, I guess you could say, was on his brain, and it made it 90%, where a human, like, he uses 90% of his brain. The average human only uses like 10%. And that's why he's got like such an attitude and like so smart and all that. And then the other experiment was healing. Like he can heal rapidly. Everything else is his, like his speed, his fighting. I mean, he learned to fight from his ex-wife. Like she trained him and all that. So that he hasn't really gone in. I don't know much about Deadpool, but he's never really gone through any like procedure to do like his strength, speed, you know, fighting, all that.
Yeah,
I think.
Oh, go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, my understanding on Deadpool is he's basically, it's just his mutant healing factor and the fact that, well, I mean, they have retconned a bunch of stuff with Deadpool lately as far as making him immortal and some of those things. Basically, where Death, Marvel's version of Death actually has, you know, feelings for Deadpool, so she won't allow him to die. You know, those kind of things. But yeah, just basically his mutant ability makes him slightly faster, you know, reflexes, those kind of things. But actually, Cam, that's something I did not know about Deathstroke as far as the intellect portion. I knew he was a tactician, but it sounds like he legitimately is on the level of somebody like Batman or Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he's very smart when it comes to, you know, being tactical and all that. But what really surprised me, I got into Deathstroke through an Xbox 360 game. I seen the mask and I was like, I like that guy. So starting to read on him more, I mean, his brain was enhanced. He has a healing factor now, but his ex-wife taught him how to do everything. Like that's why he's such a badass. Was his ex-wife?
Who's his ex-wife?
Her name's Adeline, Adeline something. But she was also a mercenary, and she's the reason why he don't have an eye.
That sounds about right for an ex-wife. From my understanding, I don't have an ex-wife, sweetheart. I don't want an ex-wife. I'm good there, but yeah, from people who have ex-wives, I hear that's pretty par for the course, taking an eye.
Yeah, Mike and I know a
Um,
guy with a couple ex-wives that take a lot of eyes.
I got an ex-wife. All she taught me was how to box my comic books and go.
Yeah.
so Mike, you're the one that posted the meme the other day on your wife found out how much you spent on these comic books. Do you want to go home or do you want to
Yeah,
come
that
with
was
me
me.
now? That was I cracked up, dude. That was pretty funny, man. Because
Yeah,
let's be
I
real
saw
here.
it. I was laughing my butt off.
In any of us who have a significant other that you share funds with, you know, there's been at least once in your collecting life where you went a little overboard. And what I mean by a little overboard is you thought you were only going a little overboard, and then you get home and you're like, holy crap, I went way overboard. All right, let's figure out how we're gonna apologize, that kind of thing, you know. So
I think my wife likes to bitch about the comic books and buying them every week, but she's actually the one that bought me my most expensive comic book that I have in my inventory, and that's Walking Dead #1, and she paid over $1,000 for it.
wowzers, dude, that's
Does she have a sister?
Yes, she does.
I don't, like you say, I don't need an ex-wife, but a sugar mama, maybe we could work something out.
No,
I
I understand what you're saying because I bought ASM 129 and it was $500. Probably like 2-3 years ago. I told my wife about it, and she's like, "How much did you spend on a comic book?" 500, but then I hit her up with I think I could sell it for like 700. You know, that's why I bought it, so that I could maybe flip it. Of course, once you get that in your hand as a comic book collector, it's really hard to flip.
well, yeah, man. So
What's funny
Cameron,
is, oh, sorry.
no, I was actually going to come to you next. I was going to ask you. These guys are kind of, you know, talking about their most expensive acquisitions. You're a Deathstroke guy. Are we thinking maybe? I'm guessing Deathstroke's first appearance maybe among the top you've spent for a book.
On me, yes. My Deathstroke's first appearance only cost me $50. I got lucky and won an eBay auction. My wife, her most expensive book cost 120, I think. So when it comes
What's
to like wives going overboard or like us going overboard, my wife's one of them that goes overboard.
right on, dude? Hey, everybody's got that a little bit in them. What book is that for your wife?
The SDCC Sailor Moon #1, where the cover's all pink and then the moon and star is foil.
That's yeah. Those San Diego Comic Con variant covers, man. Those get ridiculous in a hurry. I've been case in point. I've been looking for a deal on a Tick blank variant from San Diego Comic Con. You guys know, man, 99% of blank covers, $5 out the door. People are glad to get $5 on them. That one, you can't find it. I can't find it for under 30. So I'm like, well, and I know short printed, blah, 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 whatever. It's a blank cover still. I'm hoping to find one eventually. We'll see what happens. I'll be honest with you guys. I think probably my most expensive book that I've ever purchased was an NYX3, and I actually did get that one to flip. I dropped $250 on that, and to purchase it, then press and grade, drop another 40. I'm in almost $300 with shipping and all that fun stuff. But you know, it came back at a 9.2, and I I got out from under it at a fair price. I didn't make the killing I hoped I would make because I'd hoped it would come back much higher, but that's the trouble with grading, you know. I should have sent it to PGX, right, Todd?
Yeah, yeah. If you want it graded correctly, you send it to PGX. But on this topic, I mean, Mike has actually got a pretty interesting story because Mike had that Edge of Spider-Verse #2, I think it is, the first appearance of Spider-Gwen. And Mike put that baby up on eBay, I believe. Mike, you might want to tell us a little bit about that because that's a lesson in itself. Just what happened to you on the back end of that selling that.
I went to Motor City Comic Con like, I don't know, like 3 years ago, and I had a bunch of books that I took with me, some Walking Dead books that I was going to flip, try to get some different books. This guy saw my books and he was just like, anything you want up there, dude. Just, I picked Gwen Stacy's first appearance and then Edge of Spider-Verse. I don't know, I don't even know who the artist is, but it was a hot book. Who was that? Greg Horn? That wasn't Greg Horn.
J. Scott Campbell, maybe?
No, it wasn't even him. But the book was going. I went home and I found out that the book was like worth $800, and I was just going, wow. So I sat on it for like a year and a half, and then all this speculation about the Spider-Verse movies and stuff coming out. I threw it up on eBay. I got $2,400 for it.
Woo wee.
And then you had to pay the taxes afterward, right?
Yeah.
The eBay fees.
Yeah. That was only like $240. That wasn't that bad.
Dude, that's a score.
I bought the Walking Dead books off some guy, a big bundle, and when it was all said and done, I only paid cover price for each Walking Dead book. And I had 19, 27 out of there, 53. I got all the main books out of there. I only took 10 books up there and traded for that Spider-Verse book. So I was happy.
I don't doubt, man. I don't doubt that at all. That's an awesome one. And you know, people will occasionally inquire through Facebook, through social media, how do you afford to get books that you get, or how do you get to where you are with your collection? Man, that right there is at least 50% hustle and 50% luck.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you obviously it's slightly luck because you happened on the guy that had the bundle, was willing to take it, but you had to be hustling to find it too. So I was talking to a guy today because I was doing, and he was talking about how that looking like, well, I didn't chastising him because I'm really not, but people who flip books get a bad rap on basically in the hobby, and I have to remind people that if it wasn't for people who were looking to flip comic books, we wouldn't have LCSs, man. That's what those were originally, was people who found back issues. It was like, hey, open up a shop and do it. That's all an LCS is. They just got brick and mortar around them. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's me on my soapbox there a little bit with you know, I never want anybody to feel bad for hustling and doing what they do. Cam, you got any interesting trade stories or anything you want to share with us?
Basically, at the Comic-Con, I found the first Professor Hulk for $10, and then I had Immortal Hulk #1, so I packaged them together, and like I paid for my pools for the last 3 months, so I thought I walked away pretty good on that.
Heck yeah, dude. I love that, man. I'll tell you right now, I kind of showed these to you guys before. Because I've got them here handy. I'm going to show them off again for the people watching on YouTube. But okay, this is going to be semi-poetic. I had a New Teen Titans #2 graded at a 9.2, and one of the books that I traded plus a little bit of cash, that kind of thing, and I got the Spanish version of Fantastic Four 45, first appearance of the Inhumans. Now again, I got other books in that gig as well, like a First Constantine and a Gambit Gold, a Gambit #1 Gold, which is, those are pretty hot books. But man, trading and to be frank about it, I bought a collection and I have about $1.50 per book in that collection that I purchased, and then the grading fees to get it up to a 9.2, and the cash I got back was more than what the grading fees were and all that fun stuff. So, I ended up with more than $100 worth of books on, basically $1.50. You know what I mean? But then another one out of that same collection, like $1.50 per book, and the dude, a different guy, same day. Now this is super low grade. It's like a 2, but it's complete, and it's attached at Staples, English version of first appearance of the Inhumans, and you can pick up those books if you're willing to hustle for them. You don't always have to drop huge coin to get them. Now, if you got huge coin, man, I don't fault you at all for doing that either. However it works best for you. But I mean, I love hearing story. That's one of the reasons I like the Collector's Corner. We all get to sharing stories on how we picked up books and stuff, and that's that kind of makes the collecting world go round.
I love the vibe you get from the thrill of the hunt when you're in a old like shop or you're at a little antique mall and stuff, and you're like flipping through those books, and you spot that one book that like sparks you, like and you like look around, see if anybody's watching you, and you pull that sucker out as fast as you can. I love it.
Oh, dude, for sure. Okay, so that brings up another great question I have for you guys. Where is the shadiest place or the least likely place that you've ever bought a comic book from? And I'll start that way we can kind of get it out of the way. I'm telling you right now, I picked up basically a short box and a half from a guy from, he might be watching or listening. He may find this out at some point. He may correct me. 2 trailers in a field in the middle of Southwest Missouri, about a 20-minute drive from where I live, 25-minute drive from where I live. I'm telling you, I really do believe that this was a meth trailer. I have no doubt it was a meth trailer, because I'm telling you, where the comic books came out of was the more rickety of the 2 trailers that were parked there, 50 feet away from each other. And the craziest part about it is there was and this is back before no, not quite that far back. Not quite that far back. This was back before the X-Men Apocalypse movie, and a first appearance of Apocalypse was in there. That X Factor #6. That stupid thing got pressed and graded and came back at a 9.8. And if I told you who bought it from me, had it pressed and graded, y'all would know who it is. He may end up listening, and he's welcome to comment if he wants to, but I'm not going to throw him completely under the bus. Todd, where's the most unlikely place you bought comic books?
I don't know if there's I don't have it wasn't a meth trailer or anything. If it was, I probably wouldn't have remembered it if I bought some books there. But just kidding. But I did find Amazing Spider-Man 361 newsstand edition. Somebody was selling it on Craigslist. I drove up to Atlanta, which is about a 20-minute drive. He wanted I think 120 for a box. And so it had some other good things, but I mean, the main thing in it was newsstand edition of 361 and newsstand edition of Spawn #1. And I got that newsstand edition of ASM 361 graded, pressed, cleaned, and all of that. It came back at 9.6. So I feel good about that whole transaction. I mean, we ended up meeting, at a restaurant parking lot, and he just kind of was carrying the box, and he just handed it over, said, take a quick look. I looked through it really quick. I seen that ASM 361. I was like, all right, man, here you go. Take my money. But I mean, that was probably the most Craiglisty type situation that I ever had. I mean, other than that, I don't know if I'm really that great of a hunter. I mean, I see a lot of people talking about going into the dollar bins and stuff, and I go through the dollar bins and I get about halfway through the first one, and I'm like, I just don't have the energy to go any further. But most of it, but Atlanta, let me tell you, Atlanta's really a shitty comic book collecting town. I mean, it's almost like everything is kind of picked over already, and maybe I haven't found all the honey holes. I've gone to Florida. I went to Tampa Comic-Con, and I went into this store that was inside of a mall. I was digging through boxes, and I found a ton of stuff. But in Atlanta, I look, I can never find anything. I don't know. I moved from Buffalo to Atlanta, and in Buffalo we had the Buffalo Bills. In Atlanta we got the Atlanta Falcons. You just can't win going from Buffalo to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Mike's in Detroit, so you got the Detroit Red Wings, who at least win a championship every once in a while, right? Not to say the Lions. I mean, the Lions are as bad as the Bills. And Cam, I think Cam's in Cincinnati or Cleveland.
He's a Kentucky fan. He's not championship poor at all. I'm surprised he's not wearing his. Yeah, don't feel sorry for that guy. So Mike, you kind of took me down this rabbit hole a little ways. Where's the most unlikely place or strangest place you've ever bought comic books?
Todd told you I live in Detroit, man.
You're buying. So you were the guy who was buying them from crack houses, not just meth.
I go everywhere. I go everywhere. I look at any kind of news listing, anything that pops up. I got it on my Facebook where any kind of weird thing that pops up with comic books, I'm down, and I don't care. I'm so used to living down in the dirt, so I'm not no problem to go to those places and deal with those kind of people and stuff like that. So I've scored some fabulous books just doing that, dude. I mean, look everywhere. The dirtiest auction place, dude, I found 3 Amazing Spider-Man 300s and a buttload of other key books, and I got them for 13 cents a piece. I mean, so if you're not too scared, go to those dirty places.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Cam, what about you, man? You got any unlikely spots, any honey holes? I'm not asking you to give address or anything like that. You got any unlikely places that you've dug any books out of?
I had books. So my brother, he's a pipeliner. I used to be a pipeliner too, but basically in Dayton, they're switching all plastic and not cast iron, so he's got to move all the meters out of the basement. Downtown Dayton is awful. I mean, I hate it. So he's down in someone's basement plumbing out their gas line, and he looks over and sees some comic boxes. So he opens them, starts taking pictures. Do you need this? Do you need this? He basically showed me a bunch of the Mike Mayhew covers of Mystique, And I was like, dude, get those for me. I was like, see what she wants. The woman hated them, and they were the husband's books. He got like 7 books, $2, I think, of the Mike Mayhew Mystique run. So I was like, yes. I was like, I love when you go into these houses.
Dude, I'll tell you, man, that's and I've said this before with my job. I get to travel all over Southwest Missouri. I get to go over into parts of Southeast Kansas. I used to go down into Arkansas and stuff like that. So traveling all over the Ozark Hills, whatever, that's cool. And on my lunch breaks, I'll spend my entire lunch break searching for comics, looking in antique shops, flea markets, man, you name it. And it doesn't bother me at all because I'm already there anyway. I'm kind of stuck where I'm at. I might as well make the most of that lunch hour. Lord knows I ain't starving, you know what I mean? But dude, I've bought from people who I meet up in parking lots. I've bought out of the back of vans and trunks of cars and flea markets and, like, for real, you name it, you're looking at, you're like, yeah, I don't know what you're going to be spending this money on after the fact, but I'm about 99% sure it ain't going to be rent. You ain't paying rent or the electric bill with this money that I'm giving you, but you're giving me comics, so I'm getting my fix. Now you go do whatever you got to do with what you got too, you know? I mean, it's like you said, Mike, for real, half of it is the hunt, man. And I'll tell you right now, Todd, you said you're not much of a hunter. I promise you, the first time you pull a $20 or $30 book, or a book that you've been looking for years, that you just never quite wanted to pull the trigger on eBay, first time you pull one of those out of the dollar bin, you'll be hooked worse than me and Mike are, worse than Cam is. I promise. At that point, you're going to be texting me being like, hey, man, you check out this new app, this Let It Go app, or one of those. You'll be hooked the same way we are. It's I won't mince words. It's partially an addiction, frankly.
Well, like I said, when I went to Florida, I did find a honey hole type shop where everything was 50% off, the marked price. They weren't really up to date on their prices, and I found a lot of stuff there. It's really it's the Atlanta area, and I know some people that said that they're going to show me their honey holes, so I'm hoping they do. What I usually end up doing is looking at the wall and seeing what's on the wall and trying to find stuff there. I mean, my biggest regret is that the Silver Surfer, where he's kind of dragging the Hulk, I think it's like a Tales to Astonish 62 maybe, or something around there. That one there was a nice copy at a store downtown in Atlanta. It was $60. I looked on eBay. It said it was selling for 40, so I let it go. I went back probably a few weeks later, because I regretted not picking it up, and it wasn't there. And I was kicking myself. On top of it, I had to wait for my friend to get a tattoo, which took about 2 hours, and I could have at least been looking at that book saying, oh my God, I got this awesome book. But what can you do? Sometimes, the thing about comics is some of them cost a lot of money, and you end up getting that conflict of, do I spend 40, 50, 60 bucks on this book, and then you got eBay, so you're looking on your phone like, all right, oh, I see it. It's on sale for $40 on eBay. The only problem with eBay is you never know what condition it is. Like, I could say that the condition of that book that I was looking at was probably 8.0 for an older book, and that's probably my regret on that one.
No, you know what? You actually bring up a great another tangent for us to go off on here, which is, you know, of all of us, I'm sure we've passed on deals that we wanted to go back. We wish you kind of wish you could go back in time and be like, you know what? Stop. Go get this. The guy that I did my trading with today texted me. He'd been gone for 20 minutes and said, you know what? I had walk away remorse. You got 3 books there that I didn't pick up that I kind of still want. And I said, well, you know, I told him, I told him the truth, which is one of the 3 books, the other guy that I was dealing with at the same place, he picked up one of those 3 books. You know, you walk away and there is the possibility that quite literally the next guy in line walks up and says, give me that book right there. I think that's the one that's coming home with me. Cam, I'll ask you, man, you got any of those stories where you were looking at a book, you thought maybe you'd pick it up at a better deal, and then you kind of lost it?
It wasn't a book, but it was a Funko Pop. So they are getting real big, like really big. And with Game of Thrones, me and my wife went to Meyer and seen 3 of the Renly Baratheon Funko Pops from Game of Thrones. So last week we actually went to the flea market and they were selling for like 300 and something bucks. I could have spent $30 on 3 of them or whatever and I could have made a big killing off of them. So every time I see a Renly Baratheon, I kick myself for not buying them.
Yeah, I imagine, dude. That would be a huge windfall in for any one of those. Uh, Mike, you got any ones that you regret walking away from?
There's one that was driving me nuts. I just recently purchased it, but every time I went to go buy the damn thing, that deal would fall through and stuff. I went to a flea market and the guy had it, and it's Secret Wars #8, and it was in beautiful condition. I told the guy, well, how much do you want for it? He goes, I'll sell it to you for $40. I was like, dude, that's cheapest I've seen around in a long time. I'm supposed to meet some guy over here in the corner and buy a box of comics off of him. If it falls through, dude, I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna buy that. I went back there. The guy wasn't there with the box. It was just like, yeah, dude, where's that book? Oh, I'm sorry, dude. My partner, he just bought it. He goes, maybe if you ask him, and maybe he'll sell it to you for 45. I'm like, well, dude, what's up, man? He looks at it, he goes, man, this is the cleanest. He goes, and I've got like 4 copies at home. This is the cleanest I've ever seen it. He's like, give me $80 for it. I was like, dude, that's twice as much. Dude, get out of here, dude. I left.
Yeah, man, I don't blame you at all there. I've actually got 2 different stories about it from both sides. Um, so whenever I was first getting back, because you guys know how you kind of ebb and flow a little bit with collecting. Like you'll go through times when, man, you're just buying everything you see, you can't get enough, and then there are other times you kind of feel a little burnt out. Well, I was just getting back from kind of having felt burnt out, and I answer this ad on Craigslist for an auction house. They're like, we got comics, we're selling comics, come by and take a look. And I went in, looked through them, bunch of signed stuff. I was not yet aware of Evil Ernie and Lady Death as I am now, but there was some signed like big ticket Evil Ernie stuff and Lady Death stuff. But then there was also some Amazing Spider-Man in there, and there was a Forever People #1, the first full appearance of Darkseid in there. And I looked at 4 short boxes, and I looked through all of them, and I just asked the guy, I'm like, so what would it take for me to give you right now to make these where these don't go to auction? And they're short boxes. And he said 45 a piece. Me being an idiot at the time and not really judging who it was I was talking to, I'm like, could we get closer to like say like 25? And I didn't realize, I mean, I'm talking the freaking auctioneer, man. Auctioneers don't go down. They're giving you their lowest dollar first. They only go up. They don't come back down. And I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't in that frame of mind. I was trying to make a deal, a better deal for myself. Didn't realize he was giving me the best deal he was going to give me. And I offended him. I know I did, because I'm like, all right, dude, so check this out. Here's my bid. If nobody shows up, just know you got all four of them sold to me at this price. Never heard a word from him, dude. And the bad thing about it is I got, like an hour away from there, and I thought to myself, that was a dumb move. $40 for those 4 boxes is not too steep. I've got the money with me. Let's make this happen. Called him. He didn't answer his phone. So I had ticked the guy off to the point that he just wasn't going to sell to me no matter what. That's one thing that fuels me to continue to hunt. But this is the one that I got that I was on the other side of this. Go to a flea market, looking around for comic books, and in a showcase is a bunch of Silver Age stuff. And it's not all pristine, but some of it is and others not. I look, Iron Man #1 sitting there in the case, and it's like $85. It's like a 2.5 to a 3. It's in better shape than this Fantastic Four I just showed off. Solid book. But it was in the case, so I'm like, I wave them down, like, can I see that? They pull it out, I look at it, and I'm like, that's a smoking deal. And this guy who's standing behind me says, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make a deal. They're calling him right now, the owner of the book right now. I'm like, oh, yeah, man, no problem. Because I've got a flea market booth and stuff like that. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, I don't want to step on this guy's deal. You know what I mean? If somebody else is going to try and get a deal on it, let it be. So anyway, they call him, can't get a hold of the guy. Me and this guy start talking. Turns out he was a customer of mine at my flea market booth. Anyway, shorten this story up some. He asked him to hold it, but they tell me that the guy who owns the booth comes in the guy comes in on Thursdays. The guy had asked him to hold it till Friday. So I'm thinking to myself, well, cool. I'll come back on Thursday, see if anything new shows up, see what happens. Thursday, I roll in. That Iron Man #1 is back in the case. So I asked the people behind the counter, I'm like, I was here whenever he asked y'all to hold this. Did he flake? What? Yeah, man, he flaked. We don't know what to tell you. Wrap it up. That's what I'm telling you. Let's take this bad boy out home. I'm thinking that's a smoking deal. And anyway, so get home, do a video on the corner, and you know how I am, guys. I invite people to come to the collector's corner, whether I'm dealing with them or whatever. I'm always trying to pub that place because it's kind of like it's family. You know what I mean? If I can help strengthen the family, bring people in the family, let's do that. Anyway, I made my live video. I'm showing it off. I'm super stoked. I'm like, check this out. Got a smoking deal. Gonna get graded. This is awesome. All right, guys. Peace out. Be good. Hit end. And one of my buddies from the corner said, hey, did you see this guy Brian commented on your video? Click back on. He's like, that was the one they were saving for me. Ugh. Long and the short of it is, man, Brian and I are cool. I sold it to him and I made 21 cents off of the deal. I sold it. I paid it forward to him because I'm like, you know what, man, Iron Man is not really part of my primary collection, it's part of his. And you know what? The thing is, I made a friend off of it. I got a guy that helps me on my hunt now and those kind of things. And to me, that's worth more than that book was ever going to be worth to me. You know what I mean?
I don't really know what you mean. To be
You don't
honest
know what
with
I mean?
Iron Man #1, I mean, isn't that like a $400 book? I mean, was this back in 1985? I mean, I know you're older than most of us.
Dude, get your shots in while you can. I'm probably gonna trim away the winter coat
Yeah,
before the next
dye that
podcast.
stuff.
Oh man, I ain't gonna dye that stuff. Trust me, man. If my wife can't talk me into dyeing this stuff, you ain't gonna be able to talk me into it either. I promise.
Yeah.
You know, for real though, it probably a $250 book is probably what it was. But I mean, you know, like I say, man, in what we've cultivated in friendship and future business dealings and stuff like that, I didn't lose no money on it. You know what I mean? I did, and I certainly lost no sleep on it either. You know, do we have a? I'm going to ask you real quick, Todd. Do you think we still have time to talk about the one more topic this evening, or are we getting close to time?
It's up to these guys. I mean, I'm down. I'm having a good old time. So, I mean, if these guys are cool with it, I'm cool with it.
I'm down.
Don't bother me, gentlemen. Let's have some
Right
fun.
on. Good deal, man. Okay. Well, it's a little heavier of a topic, but it's something that's been in the news. You guys been here? I've heard twice in the last week that somebody has stole stuff straight out of a comic book store. Now, the one that I'm going to reference is the one, and the story's over at CBR.com. Thief steals 42,000 in rare comics from Colorado-based Milehigh. So we're all familiar with Milehigh, and I mean, okay, I'm just gonna give you my opinion. Most of what Milehigh sells, as far as back issue stuff, tends to be a little high as far as what they're considering to be. You know what I mean? So like 42K, it's probably closer at fair market value to 35. But hey, that's just me. You know, I tend to embellish a little bit myself. But anyway, essentially, let's see here. He made off with. I'm trying to look to see what all they made off with. It's not listing it out, but I think that there were some high grade New Mutants 98 stolen. There was bear with me here because I'm looking to see what the link has. McFarlane art. So Avengers 16, Amazing Adventures books. They're funny enough, an Iron Man 1 was stolen. But anyway, it looks like the person just walked in after hours, smashed and grabbed out of the case behind the counter, and walked out. So you know, it's sad because now we all have to be a little extra cautious on what it is that we're buying. But man, what do you just kind of give me some thoughts on this, man? Todd, what do you think as far as stuff like this goes? I know it doesn't make anybody happy, but what give me some thoughts on that. You're muted.
Am I good now? All right. So, like from a business perspective, I mean, they should be insured for that. So, I mean, really, you know, even though it's a story, it's more of a story for the insurance company than it is for the for the shop, I mean, granted, their rates might go up, but they should be insured for that. Also, I mean, from the security perspective, I mean, how do you let that happen? I mean, I don't. I mean, I guess, you know, I guess if it's never happened before, you can't expect it. Like, I've got books in my house that are uninsured, and if there was a fire, or if somebody broke into my house, I might lose my books. But I also got a pistol, so I mean, if somebody thinks that they're going to break into my house and get my books, I might guard my books more than I guard anything else. And no, I'm just kidding. I'll protect my family first, but you know, I don't know. I mean, I think it's more of an insurance company story than it is Mile High story. It is unfortunate that people do that, because, like, my shop, for instance, in Peachtree City, they don't carry any books up on the wall. And I tell them all the time, like, yo, dude, I mean, you got a shop here, and if you want to drive more customers from out of the area to come to your shop, you got to put some stuff on the wall that's kind of exciting and that's different on occasion, because, you know, somebody's not going to drive a half an hour to come to your shop to see the same new releases that they could get 5 minutes away. So, I mean, I guess it's unfortunate from the perspective of, like, shops like that, where they might see that and be like, you know what, this just ain't even worth it. And so it might scare some LCSs, smaller LCSs, from taking the chance of putting valuable stuff on their walls or keeping it in their shops. And that's unfortunate, because I'm a big supporter of the idea that we need LCSs, even if it's a place where people can come and play games. You know, like, I'll go into a place and kids are just playing games, but as long as it's there, that the potential to buy comic books is always there. And I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on that.
Oh, I don't disagree with you at all, man. Cam, get kind of go through. I mean, you know, Todd's already said, you know, he's armed, so we're not going to be going to his house to get any any free comic books, at least not uninvited anyway.
No, I own a gun, but I've never shot it. So before you go to Cam, I wanted to say that because Cam's a hunter, and he'll probably be laughing at me.
Cam, he's gonna load the gun with the wrong ammo, or he's gonna forget that the safety's on. I think we're good. Right. Expedition to Todd's house.
Okay, so first off, one thing I hate is a thief. I get the store could have done something different to prevent it. I've been through hard times. I'm only 28, and I've been through hard times. There ain't no reason to steal. I can't express that enough. There is no reason to steal. But sort of what, you know, I don't have any valuables, you know, they're valuable, you know, to me, in my heart. But if someone, you know, like Todd said, comes in, tries stealing my stuff, I'm a little bit armed too. I
Just a
hate
little.
just a little bit. I think I've shown Todd a lot of my toys, but there's no reason to steal. There's no reason, you know, to steal. That's it. Like, I get you're going through a hard time, but you can do something better. Like, I hate thieves.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there, and I've said this about people who try and make their living dishonestly. If they would put half the effort that they put into being dishonest and being a thief, trying to steal from somebody or defraud somebody, there's a good chance they'd be making really good money doing something legal, doing something the right way. Now, people make choices. They make choices. Um, I'll tell you, with my LCS, they actually this is one of those things that kind of, again, just by happenstance happens. Um, I'm out hunting comic books, and I go to a small little town, driving through this small little town, go hunt up some comic books, made a good deal with some comic books, and as as I'm driving away after making this, I come to a stoplight, check my Facebook real quick, and one of my LCSs is posting security footage, kind of like they did there on Milehigh's page, of people, and it showed these people standing in front of the new release comic books, looking at them, the lady turning around and going to the front counter, and the guy sliding it up under his jacket, and he jacked 5 or 6 new comic books. Well, wouldn't you freaking know it? I'm the guy I'm not pulling away with those brand new comic books, because again, I'm not really a brand new comic book guy. I like back issues more than anything in this world. Just, I love the back issues, man. That's where I live. But anyway, so in the back of my mind, I'm saying to myself, I wonder if they stole the comic books that I bought too. So I hit up my LCS guy in Messenger. I said, man, I've got the address of those people. I guarantee you, I just saw those books, because they put a list out kind of like Mile High did, of what they were missing, what they thought was gone out of the inventory. And I said, I literally just saw those books. I saw them 10 minutes ago. I said, they're not in Springfield anymore, which is my home base where my LCS is. But I told them what town they were in. I said, I can put it on a map. You can go get these people. And he said, yeah, let me get back with you. I had to get back with him like 2 days later. He's like, yeah, the owner said not to mess with it. There's only $30 worth of books, not worth our time. I'm like, well, then why'd you guys freaking even say anything anyway? You know what I mean? Just let it be. Don't, if you're going to complain and want people to help you out, let me help you out. Mike, how do you feel about this stuff with Mile High going on, man?
I feel bad for him. Like Todd says, they got their insurance and stuff like that. But man, it's crazy that somebody thinks that nowadays that they can get away with stealing that mass amount of books. I mean, you got to be a serious collector if you think you're gonna want to try to keep those. Because I don't see you trying to selling those to anybody, dude, without getting caught. Those are high end books,
right?
Yeah,
man.
There's too much security. It ain't the 80s. It ain't the early 90s. You can't just walk into places and expect to steal things and get away with it anymore, dude. There's cameras everywhere.
Absolutely, man. Well, and like that, I kind of misquoted what, because I'm trying to eat. The picture I'm looking at is on their Facebook page. If anybody wants to take a look at it, they can. But like they they go, it's in handwriting, but it's the Atom #1 in VG shape. They've got Avengers #1 in good. That was the one I thought was Avengers 16. I'm like, I think they overvalued that. But Avengers #1 in good condition. Iron Man #1, Spider-Man 129, Thor 109. I mean, like they've got, like you said, these are heavy hitter books. These are not books that you're going to be able to walk. Like, you're not going to a pawn shop and being like, hey, what do you give me on these? Because that pawn shop's going to look at you and be like, comic books, you think they're worth $40,000? No. You know what I mean? So you gotta unload them to a collector. A collector that's looking at these, that is like collecting is a big community, But people who like regularly buy that kind of a book, that's a much smaller community, really.
Yeah.
Because I mean, dude, I look, I've got to it says Justice League #1 in fine condition. And they've got valued at $15,000. Again, I don't know, man. I'd have to check my eBay sold listings and some other places. 15K seems a bit high on that one, unless if I'm misreading their handwriting, which again, it's handwriting. I think it is an FI. Isn't that fine
Yeah.
condition?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, if those are mile high prices are usually mile high. I mean,
Yeah.
Mile High Comics actually kind of fits the name. They definitely overvalue a lot of their stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, and like you say, that's kind of my deal with. I really think if they're valuing it at $43,000 or whatever, chances are a lot higher. The actual fair market value is somewhere closer to 35, really. But you know, there again, still these are heavy hitter books. The lowest priced one that they've got that they are showing is Batman 103 in good condition at that they're valuing at $290. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what happens in Batman 103. I'm sure there's a couple people leave comments on the video and on YouTube or on Podbean and let us know what happens in Batman 103. But I don't know what happens there, so the chances of me spending almost $300 on one slim to none. You know, if I picked it up for $30, yeah, I might do that, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, man, I'm I feel bad for him too. So I don't want anybody to think that I don't feel bad for them just because they overvalue their stuff. Man, we all value our stuff at what we value it at. Free market, man. That's what I'm about. Is all free market. And so if they've got people that are willing to pay the prices that they're asking, which obviously they got a few, or they wouldn't be in business the way they still are. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of I, I I'm saddened for them. I'm saddened for them, but I will tell you one thing: I will not tolerate. I will not tolerate a fan of Mile High Comics starting a GoFundMe for them. I will not tolerate that.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, like I said, I think their insurance will probably they probably have good enough insurance to cover what they lost. It is unfortunate what happened, and you know, if they're a good, if they run their business like they sell their comics, I mean, I gotta figure that they're probably covered. It's an unfortunate story. It's unfortunate that anybody would go and steal comics. It's more unfortunate when you hear like somebody that is at a con that just, you know, they drag their books to go to the Comic-Con, they put their books up, and all of a sudden you hear a story that some douchebag came in and stole the comic books from this stand from this guy that is actually just set up there. You know, that's more unfortunate. Or what's unfortunate is when, like, you go and you meet Neil Adams and Neil Adams charges you $30 to take a photograph with him. No, Neil Adams can do whatever he wants. I know. I'm not gonna argue with him.
More like Lou Ferrigno.
No, dude, that's how Neil Adams was, man. I met Neil Adams and he wanted 25, $30 for a picture, $50 for a signature, and if you didn't want to pay him, he didn't want to have anything to do with you. But you know, I don't know how Neil Adams was paid back in the day. So, I mean, I guess I can't really blame him. You know, he's probably trying to make up for all the money that he could have made back in the 70s and 80s. That's my rant on Neil Adams.
No, man, it's cool. We all got our little soapboxes that we get on occasionally, man. I'm one to get on those as well. Just the stories that I've heard about Neil Adams is Neil Adams loves him some Neil Adams.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And those goddamn blue shirts he always wearing.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no.
Is that
It is.
Neil Adams signature?
Nice.
Very nice. So we've gone over the hour mark. So let's get some final comments from everybody. Cam, you got any final comments on what we talked about before we wrap this one up?
Not really. I just want to say thank you for having me on. I had a lot of fun. And if you ever need someone to show you how to shoot a gun, just let me know and I'll send you a YouTube video.
Sounds good, bro. Sounds good. I've watched them all, but I'm still too afraid.
I'm more than likely going to send him the videos on how not to shoot a gun because those are the funny ones.
Actually, a funny story. I have this one of those big TVs, right? The ones with the big tube on it and everything. So my wife's like, get rid of this. So I unscrewed it and I took it all apart, and all I had left was the glass piece, the big, huge, the heaviest part, right? So I tell my wife I had to put it back together because the only way that I could junk this thing is if it's all together. And she's like, well, you have a gun. Just take it out in the backyard and shoot it. So on the 4th of July, if you hear gunshots in Fayetteville, Georgia, that's me shooting my TV. That's my final thought.
we need a video of this. We need a video of that.
You might get one.
Mike, you got some final thoughts for us?
Let's see here. Deceased, I would definitely pick up the second copy, man. The story in the first one was really good. Immortal Hulk, what can I say? If you ain't on the bandwagon, you need to get on it. It's a good storyline. The art is phenomenal. Price of 2 and 3 is a little up there, though. Let's see here. Don't steal anything, dude. Jesus Christ. That's about it for me, guys.
Yeah, man, that's a good way to live. Don't steal stuff. That way you don't have guys like Cam and Todd shooting at you and stuff. I'll refrain on saying what I would do with a thief. I'm not going to go down that road. We'll be here another hour. Final thoughts for me. If you have not read Kingdom Come, like Todd was saying, man, get on it, dude. I picked these up today, the full 4 issues, man, and these covers by Alex Ross are just the tip of the iceberg. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it will prepare you for, if you're going to get down with Young Justice, which, let's be real here, that's one of the most popular animated series going right now. For DC is Young Justice. I enjoy Young Justice myself, and I don't watch a lot of animated series, but that's one that I do. Highly recommend. Cannot recommend it enough. If you're not going to go out and buy the books, like Todd said, hop on YouTube, man. There's a great. It really is. It's like an hour and 50 minutes, and it gets you the entire thing with the comic book background. Highly recommend it. Yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm at on it. And you guys might stay tuned to the Facebook group, because the one that I just showed off, that's my 3rd set, and we might be might try and work around something for a future giveaway that revolves around those. So I'll get with Todd. We'll see what we can come up with, but I think that would be a worthwhile thing to pass along to people. So,
Well, John,
that's all I got, Todd.
John, I actually need those books, so maybe I can win this giveaway.
Hey, well,
I say the same thing,
dude. We ain't. We haven't. we haven't stipulated that you know, admins can't win and stuff like that. I mean, you know what? I almost forgot. You almost let me forget. Don't do that to me, Todd. The Crew Kickstarter.
Yes.
We got two of the main characters chilling out with us today. We normally only have one, but we finally hit the first stretch goal, man. That's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome, and we got some surprises. I ordered some extra stuff. I'm really stoked about. I talked to somebody at work. They told me, you know, you should get something like this, and I thought it was a great idea. It's kind of like a you know, you buy issue 1, you get the first one. You buy issue 2, you get the second one. You buy issue 3, you get the third one. And I've already purchased the first 3, so I'm hoping that the first 3 issues happen. And also, Cam is actually a robot in issue number 4. So
Nice.
yes.
Future appearances.
So Cam is also in book number 4, and the name fit perfectly. And because I know Cam, I had to include him in this book. And you know, and Leon's one of the main characters in book number 1.
Right on.
You know, so
dude, I think we're well within striking distance, even with the limited amount of time that we got left. 4.5K gets bookmarks, man. So you might have to start planning out those bookmarks.
we might have to upgrade that to magnets. I don't know. Mike's been bugging me for magnets.
For magnets.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, next one I'm going to be lobbying for those enamel pens, man, because that's like that's my jam other than comic books. So anyway, I can't not say that. And you guys know too, after it's all said and done, our very next podcast, we'll recap where it ended up at and stuff like that. So expect us to be talking much more about the Crew.
Heck yeah. I could talk about the Crew all day. I mean,
I don't doubt, homie. It's a labor of love, man.
heck, well, yeah. I don't know if I love it that much anymore. It was a lot.
It wasn't hard work. I was gonna say it's labor still, man. It's still labor.
I know. I gotta make it productive enough so that I can retire from the other job and my wife can go to work.
Like you said, a sugar mama. That's what we all need. We need sugar mamas.
Exactly.
I read book 1. I'm reading book 2 right now. And then he's got this other story that's in the download that he sent me that's really good too. And hopefully he does something with that in the future. But man, the Crew, man, it's a good story. The first one pops. The second one is I'm only on the second page, but it's pretty good.
Right on, man. Right on. I have no doubt. I'm looking forward to it. I gotta admit, I popped for all four covers because I could not decide which cover that I loved the most, and so I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just gonna get all 4. I'm gonna get all 4. We'll I, like you say, couldn't help myself. So yeah, I can't wait. I'll read it 4 times.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Not a problem.
If anything, we're supporting the artists in the Collector's Corner, and we do, like I said, we do have some surprises that I think will excite people even more. So hopefully it's on to number 2 and we can have the same success.
Right on, dude. All right, man. Well, I'm like you say, that really, that was my final thought. I know I got 2. Sorry, guys. I cheated. I do that occasionally.
It's all right. That's right.
We make up the rules as we go along, and the points don't matter.
Yeah. We're close to perfection. We'll get there one day, you know. But we do the best we can, and we have a good time doing it. So
yes, we do.
Thank you guys for joining us. I'm gonna
Thanks,
wrap.
guys.
I'm gonna wrap this one up, and check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, check all those things. Peace out, everybody.